And
Plugged up.
here we go.
So potentially we're live.
We are live.
All right. She's already got to add that to the end.
It's missing. It's missing
Yeah.
a little something.
Is it working?
It is. Well, it's going to be in just a second. I'm sharing the link in the
Okay.
post. So,
Well, hope y'all have had a better week than we have. Didn't we say that last week?
we say that every week, don't we?
It's been a rough week.
There have been rough moments.
A lot of them.
There have been. But at the same time, too, while dealing with sometimes frustrations, in the midst of it, you make multiple sales. So, I can't remember what we were working on a couple of days ago, and I was feeling all Debbie
it's a-
Downer because,
Angry buyer.
that particular day we had like 3 sales, and I said, well, let's just go ahead and pack it up and take it on. And while I was packing and we were handling other issues and getting distracted, 2 more sales happened
2 good
before I went to
sales.
the post office. Yeah, and they were good sales. Or was that yesterday?
It was just
That was yesterday. Yeah. So I think that we are experiencing the same thing everybody else is that sales are just extremely unpredictable, and that is the
and
eBay
down.
life, isn't it?
Yeah, down. We've
Uh-huh.
heard a lot of people. A lot of people say March is their worst month. We also hear a lot of people talk about summer slowdown. I mean, I think that a lot of that depends on, what items you're selling. We would think that ours would kind of pick up because of, shorts and short sleeve shirts.
And we are selling more shorts, but obviously there are a lot of different things going on right now. So we jokingly yesterday we're sitting down and making notes about what we wanted to talk about today. And throughout the word pontificating, we jokingly said
Which
we were
was the wrong word.
pontificating. Yes. So we're like, before we use that word, let's like look it up and see what it means. And it
Trying to look smart, we look stupid.
and so yeah, it did say that to share one's opinion in a pompous manner, and we were like, oh, that is not what we want to do because we don't understand everything about tariffs, and we are still novices at eBay, and we can't determine everything, but we can have a conversation about it. So
Yeah. Well, first I need to get something off my chest.
what's that?
So one of the biggest deals, and this crazy event started Sunday at 6 a.m. Actually, it was at 5:45
Yes.
a.m. on Sunday morning. Palm Sunday. So we had a return that was probably like 10 days ago. And, both when you get offers and when you get returns, don't get like me. I'm in a hurry. I want to hit, either accept or not accept or return or not return. You better read the notes. And I've gotten burned once in an offer because somebody included shipping and something else
Right.
in the note, and I accepted it and then had to figure out how to do that. So that was a negative thing. And then we had some weird.
There's not a button for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. And then we had a weird offer last night. It was kind of the first time we've ever had one like this, where it appeared that somebody was offering $60 for a dress, and I was about to hit accept, but then I read the note. Praise the Lord, I read the note, and this person had bought the same dress, in a
In different size.
and wanted to just trade with us, and I almost hit accept. So read the notes because you never know. But this guy, he bought a shirt, and we put the size, how it was tagged, what it measures. We have pictures of our dimensions. We also have where you throw it in everywhere. So anyway, he got this shirt and it was too tight. And, if you've ever bought clothes, you know that it depends on the manufacturer, depends on what year it was made. Who knows? One year it might have been made in India, another year it's made in China.
It's also pre-owned, so
Yeah.
also into the equation is the fact that some people will wash things in cold water, some people will wash things in
Maybe it shrunk, maybe
color.
it didn't. But like we, put dimensions in there for a reason. So, and our policy is 30-day, you can return it, but unless there's something wrong with it or it's not as described, you have to pay to ship it back to us. So, anyway, 10 days ago, if you've ever done a return, you'll see you get this note. And I always wait until we get the package. We open the package.
on video.
On video. So we've said this before for good reason that you do this and document all this stuff. And then I don't hit return until after I'm like, okay, we're good. And so then I go in there and I go to hit return, which in this scenario, all that the return page showed me was the amount for the shirt, not shipping.
Amount requested was the same item, the same amount that he paid for the shirt.
Yeah. So like, I'm fine with that. Hit the button. Return was sent. Like I said, that was 10 days ago or so. And then all of a sudden, Sunday morning at 6 a.m., he starts blowing me up and he's mad because I didn't. He kept using the word, I gave him a partial refund. So we don't see, as sellers, the other side, what the buyer sees. And so there's stuff going on his side, but he was like, I only got this. I'm like, well, I don't know why you got that amount because we refunded you more than that. Well, no, you didn't. And then he started accusing me of stuff, and then he threatened me. And he threatened me with a negative feedback if I didn't make it right. Now, he never would tell me what make it right meant. He just said, I'm going to give you a negative. Well, number one, that's against eBay rules. So you're not supposed to be allowed to threaten anybody for anything outside of what your listing says you're going to do. So I had to go back and say, number one, threaten me as against eBay policy. Number two, here's my return policy, which you saw when you purchased the item. Or you didn't because you didn't pay attention.
Right.
But also, my listing showed what the item was tagged at and the size. We measured it, and there was the dimensions. So I didn't say this part, but I'm like, it's your bad if you don't look at the information I gave you. And I'm not going to pay for your bad by shipping it to you and then shipping it back to me just so you can decide whether you like it or not. So anyway, I didn't say all that. I was very nice about this, but he got very hostile and
Very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And I was trying to help him understand, but I said, I can't see what's on your side. If you will do this, screenshot it, send it to me. I'll try to help you understand. And actually, I was about 50-50 on giving either some money back or if I could figure out what the amount was that he was looking for, just to be done with it, which is not a good policy, to be honest, because once you start doing that, then everybody's going to do that to you. And then you might as well just say,
Free shipping, have all of our stuff.
yeah, just do whatever you want to do.
Let us pay to ship it to you.
Yeah. So, anyway, he kind of went radio silent when I said, you're not supposed to be threatening me to do this. And then he came back, and he came back with a fury. And then didn't give me any time to resolve the matter. And then he was like, I'm done.
Make it right.
Make it right. Even though
Again, what does that mean?
once again, I'm like, what? I need to give me an amount. What does make it right mean? He's like, you could do the math. I'm like, you're not even going to do any effort on your part. So anyway, I thought this was an open and close case. If he were to give us a negative feedback, that eBay would remove it. So I wasn't worried about it. And then he gave us a negative feedback. And then I reached out to eBay and I requested that they remove it because that's supposed to be a new thing. It's supposed to be easy to get those things removed. And for the first time ever, because normally I get zero information back. Nothing.
Or zero response
No
from
response.
eBay.
So this time I got, thank you for sending that in. We'll get back to you within a day. And I was like, wow, look at that. They actually, and so I
Oh,
was,
and a survey.
yeah, well, no, that came after.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, wow, they're actually going to look at this, And I was kind of hoping that I'd get response before going live so I could share with you what was going on. I kind of wish I hadn't now, but I was sitting there. We had gotten those sales that she was talking about. We were trying to get those because she was heading out to drop them off at the post office. And I went back and sat down at the computer, and all of a sudden I saw, oh, we got a response already from eBay. How in the world did we get a response that fast? And it was a generic, too bad.
Bot.
I'm like, hey, there's no way you even read all the stuff that I wrote when I made the request, which is a whole nother thing of how many windows I had to have open to find that information. So we can talk about that some other time if somebody wants to know more about returns. But I was like, how you didn't even read my thing, much less this long back and forth 3-day conversation I had with this guy, or the fact that he threatened me. How could you say? So my interpretation, because good luck getting any more information. And I'm not
Or finding that conversation again.
Yeah, and
with eBay.
I'm not I'm not encouraging you to get ugly with eBay, because that's not going to help you.
No.
But my interpretation of it is, because this has happened before, eBay gives the buyer the right to say whatever. So they were just looking at removing the feedback, like he wasn't nice, but he's free to express his opinion. Now, the problem is that eBay has said they are not allowed to threaten us in order for me to cave and give him.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on what your definition of threat or what coercion is. I interpret that as, if you give me this, I will give you a good review. And
Well,
but then it started with that, and then it went to, I'll give negative feedback.
Now I'm going to give you negative feedback if you don't make it right. So he did it twice. So anyway, you have like 30 days if you want to, dispute it any further. And I need to pray a lot more about this. And
you also have the
sleep a lot
opportunity to respond to his negative feedback,
which I also need to be
prayed up about
before I respond.
Because as frustrating as all of this is it worth giving it any more energy?
Well, I had to shut it off.
Yeah.
Yesterday because I needed to work on listings, so
Yeah.
I didn't, and I'm not going to don't have time to give any thought to it today, so we'll see if anything ever happens. But
And I think it's a lot easier to say, just let it go, when it's not you personally experiencing it at that time.
yeah, I do highly recommend that if you find yourself in this situation, that you take a lot of deep breaths.
Don't respond without having had your coffee
Yeah, if you're
breakfast.
Yeah, and which is what that's how it started. But if you're ugly on there, that's not going to go well for you at
No.
all. So, make sure that you don't do eye for an eye kind of scenario, because that doesn't work well with eBay.
No. We're trying to learn to turn the other cheek. That's not easy.
Because
Yeah.
he smacked me in one. So. Anyway,
So-
all that to say is that this week the sales have been down and the returns have been up. So I would be curious if you have found, because we're
The same for you,
We're in
right?
men's clothes, so I don't know what you may be selling, but are you finding the same scenario where your sales are down and your returns are up? They changed the whole return scenario, and it made it easier for them. Also for us that are in the closing thing, we had to jump through more hoops, and we had 2,200 listings that we had to fix, because now they're saying,
Oh, the new item description
Yeah.
or item condition policy.
which is only
Yeah.
enclosed currently. It may be coming down your road
Yeah.
next, but
And it's not necessarily all clothes.
well,
Because it still doesn't apply
if
to.
if it's like a sporting, like an athletic, NCAA something, that doesn't happen.
Ties
Or
doesn't.
ties are considered an accessory, so they don't throw it underneath there.
Okay.
And maybe blazers. I don't remember.
I've listed blazers, but I think it does apply to blazers.
But it definitely pants, shirts, that kind of stuff. Like
all-
you have to say, is it fair, good, and excellent, and good luck trying to figure out.
Yeah, I think that it is definitely between excellent and good. It's a really great area distinguishing, but I think either way, if you go excellent or you go good, you just need to be very cautious about disclosing everything.
Everything. Now, what it has made us do now is we've talked about this before. We are leaving some stuff behind at the store because we just don't want to have to put that in the, I don't know how to rate this, because something that used to be cool before because it was distressed is, who knows what that means now. But it does make us go, you know what? This is not really what I would consider excellent, so let's just leave it.
Yeah.
And that's
So
not a
let's-
terrible thing for us.
No, it's not. And there are plenty of just good sort of things, or definitely plenty of things that we need to leave behind.
But it's also forcing us, when you're describing it, and going down to what are the other, there's the seller notes, and then the one below that one.
Description.
Just description note you would add to it. Now you can say, you know, this shirt is really, it's in great shape for a 20-year-old shirt. You know, it's in great shape, but I go ahead and throw in there that it's got natural wear, natural fading. It's not like a brand new crisp right off the showroom floor scenario. So we're having to be a lot more wordy than we were before. But everything now is about, you know, covering yourself. Just make sure that
Yeah.
you say, and if you see anything, you better point it out.
Yeah.
So, because what
Yeah.
you don't want is item not as described.
Right.
That will hurt you
Yes.
a lot.
So describe
So-
it very well.
While we're on the doomsday discussion, which it doesn't have to be, and that's
No.
why we want to talk briefly about tariffs, is that
It's a hot topic
Yeah.
right now. And
who knows what that's going to mean, and whether, you know, a lot of people are of the opinion that, oh, it's, you know, it's all of a sudden it's the next day you go to Walmart or whatever and it's going to be the end of the world. Well, you know, it takes a minute for, if it actually even affects anything, because it appears that there's a whole lot of debate back and forth between countries, and it might turn out to be better for us given time, but it could get worse before it gets better.
yeah. Well, I love that we were watching a video from Grams and Pops, or Grams and Pop. Can't remember exactly, but they have some really good conversations, and they were talking about tariffs, and I really love that he put a positive spin on several aspects of it, and one of those is just that recession provides an opportunity. So
Yeah, because we experienced this in the house flipping scenario. So back
so it
in
depends on where you are and what you're doing and how you do it.
2008 sounds crazy, but like there were times when I could have bought houses for $1,000. $1,000. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a glorified shed because it was such bad shape. But property with a house, you know, and a roof and everything else, you can't buy a shed for $1,000. And so, depending on, you know, who you are, you know, you might be able to get better deals because certain people are dumping things, but then some of the other things you may or may not be doing could cost you more, and you might have to pivot. Like we were want to try our best to avoid pivoting because that just complicates life. But you know, for us, you know, the clothes are already been bought from the store, so now they're you know
They're here.
they're here, and so there's not really a tariff thing. So what I wanted to say was what we're pontificating, but we need to someone tell us what the right word is for
No, what we're
what we're thinking about.
oh my gosh, I had the word in my head.
Yeah, you lost it.
We're Pondering.
What we're pondering.
Pondering is not the same thing as pontificating.
It's not. It's not as cool as saying
Yeah.
pontificating. But
Yeah.
what we're pondering is, if there is substantial tariffs from stuff coming overseas, will more people be interested in a secondhand Ralph Lauren long sleeve shirt versus going to buy one new at Macy's? And we hope so. We also, I don't know if anybody y'all have seen this. I think it started on TikTok, but it started spreading. People started reposting this kind of stuff. So, we have this mindset that, whatever brand that you're in love with is made by a specific place and, all this kind of stuff. Turns out, if you ever do any homework, one plant in China probably makes about 3 or 4 different brands. It's the same thing. They just put
different logos on.
Different logo, and that's it. So what they have done is jumped out and said, hey, all right, if that's the game you're going to play, guess what? We can sell you as an American the same shirt minus the logo. Instead of $200, you can buy it for $5. Now, don't get me wrong, there's shipping and there's all kinds of other stuff in there. But that really kind of shakes up, the apple cart, because I don't know that a lot of Americans realize that, say Ford, for example, they're actually, back in 1985, I had a Mazda pickup truck. And if you were paying attention back then, the Mazda pickup truck and the Ford Ranger were basically the same thing. And you would see, I'm trying to remember which way it was. It might have been the engine. I can't remember which was from which, but they were not both made, parts were not made by the same company. So, love that truck, kept it for 8 years. But anyway, it wasn't just a Mazda truck. They partnered with somebody. I think it's Ford and Range Rover and then several other companies. They're all the same thing now. And so if you start looking at body styles, you go,
a lot of similarities.
That's the same. That's a glorified Explorer or whatever. So same with clothes. So who knows how that's going to shake up. Key is not to freak out, run around screaming the sky's falling, because maybe it's not. We don't know yet.
Well, I was just going to say, what would you say are the negatives currently, the negatives regarding tariffs?
Well, right now, everybody's freaking out because of what the media is saying.
Yeah.
So whether good or bad, too early to tell today. I'm not saying don't think about it. I'm just saying don't freak out.
Well, I did think that the media is so focused on the negative aspects of potential tariffs, because I'm not even sure presently, like supposedly they started over, 10 days ago, or more than that. It's been about 2 weeks ago, but everything's been paused on certain countries. And so I don't know if any tariffs have actually are active, been imposed. But we're focusing on the idea of tariffs as if the automatic result is going to be that we're going to pay double for everything that we purchase as consumers. So, well, first of all, like I said, none of them really have been imposed as far as I know.
Well, we don't really. That's the point.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
And we don't, I think, you've made the statement before, like Trump kind of plays 5D chess, with the business experience he has and all the people he has around him. We don't understand the deals that are all being worked out, and there's a lot that, like statements that's something that will be asked for, but you're really settling down here. And I think a lot of that is going on with the tariffs. The threat is there, but I think that people believe that he will do it. But it's bringing people to the table to actually work a deal, and that's not been done in the past, or not in the past few decades. So I think that I think we've had a lot of people in government or in government leadership that really don't understand economics.
Well, maybe they do because they're pocketing.
Well,
the whole-
they're pocketing, and they're making money, which, does bring me to one other thing, that one negative that everybody keeps screaming about is that this is going to tank the stock market. Well, of all the Americans, like what percentage of the American population actually has money in the stock market?
Not us.
Yeah, it's very small number. And maybe the ones that are crying the loudest about the stock market are the ones who are benefiting the most from the stock market. And the rest of us are like, I don't know,
Well,
maybe
true.
the money should go someplace else.
True, but if you're thinking clearly and not panicking, you can also look at the stock market and go, you know what? Now's the time to sell. Let it go down, and then buy it again, because then it'll go back up, and you make money that way. But there's a whole, and we don't want to get into all this, but there's a whole deal of, if when the stock market goes down, then people start buying bonds more, and that may be something that we need right now. So anyway, all that to say is that we really don't know, and most people are just running around saying the sky's falling. So, that was where we said that people are super concerned about, are we going to get hit personally? Well, we already been hit.
Yeah.
The price of eggs and gas and everything else has already hit us. And if you've been paying attention lately, not that it's come down substantial, but it has come down.
A little, yeah.
So,
But media's not talking about that.
so you have to really ask yourself, like, okay, if we are freaking out now, why weren't we freaking out a couple of years ago? When we should have been freaking out.
I think it's because it's slow cranking, like tightening and tightening and tightening. And we have had things tightened so much for so many years that we're just basically all at the uncle stage. We're like, I just can't. I can't anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been an uncle for quite a while. So, and what the other part that people are going to freak out about and they worry about is that they're going to lose their jobs. Guess what I did a couple years ago? I lost my job. And I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of y'all that a couple years ago lost your job.
Right.
So it already happened to a bunch of us. So we've already been scrambling, trying to figure out how to make this work. So, maybe if some of the things that, are unnecessary get eliminated, and those people, find themselves in the same boat we're in right now, then they might be a little sympathetic to the things that they did in the past that caused us to lose our job. So, a little hard for me to be sympathetic about that because, we've been dealing with it for, 3-4 years?
Well, I was
Painful years.
just thinking, too, about all the downsizing in the government and how there's been a huge uproar about government employees losing their jobs. But, when companies have downsized in the past, who was in an uproar when the auto industry laid off a bunch of people and when the oil industry, closed down pipelines and, all of that? Like, where was the sympathy for those people?
So it's just, unfortunately, it's part of life. And, you can choose to freak out about it or you can choose to come up with a solution. For us, we tried several things. And the only thing that was working at all was eBay. So I'm not saying that this
And
is
it started working quickly.
Yeah, it did. I mean, we tried a bunch of stuff that we did for long periods of time and made zero money. In fact, we spent money that we never got back. So all that was super painful. But once, we started doing eBay, at the very least, we are making money. Not
killing it, but
not the amount. Well, I was going to say not the amount that we would. It's not the amount that we would need because that seems to be we are getting just barely what we need, but it's not the amount we would want. But that means we had to make adjustments. Unfortunately, our age and my health, I mean, that limits, what you can do and not do. So, not saying eBay is the solution for everybody, and ideally we won't have everybody get into eBay because then there's more competition. But
No.
competition's not a terrible thing,
No, competition sharpens us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all of this, is one of the things we were talking about this morning is that, more and more spend less time on social media and news. None of that's super helpful.
No.
You want to focus your time on main things, important things, and not fill your head full of other people, doom and gloom. So, you may need to turn us off.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, let's try to look at the bright side. Like, what are some positive things that could come from the tariffs?
Well, the first one you wrote down was, made in the USA, would be great, but guess what? There's not a lot of stuff made in the USA.
No.
So maybe through all this, stuff will start getting made in the USA, and it'll have that sticker or tag or whatever. It used to be that my dad worked for Lee Blue Jeans, and not far from us in a couple different directions were Lee plants. And they used to make them in Alabama. Of course, we lived in Kansas when he worked because that's the headquarters. But he would travel back to Alabama, ironically. And they said, made in the USA. We took that all for granted. Brooks Brothers was a awesome company. Still, if you can find them, they're great quality, made in the USA. But all the stuff sending everything overseas, well, that's how we ended up with cheap stuff and fast fashion.
Right. Fast fashion, and we're actually promoting bad working conditions in other countries. So, we're participating in sweatshops by, buying those goods that we don't know about the safety of them, and but we're partially responsible because of ignorance does not, doesn't take us out of the equation.
Based on our current financial situation, obviously cheaper would be more appealing. But we have to ask ourselves now, based on the amount of income we have, do we really need that? And the temptation to buy something cheap now is not there because we don't have the money for anything. So the last thing we want to do is buy something cheap that's
Not going to last.
it's just not necessary. We don't need it. So where you could flip that over, and the way I started thrifting, of course I used to haggle and trade with guys on job sites and all that kind of stuff. But where I started getting into the clothes part was, why would I pay $100 for a shirt, especially since I was a contractor? And I learned that lesson from my dad because he was terrible about going to the plants and destroying new shirts and new ties. A lot. So all that to say is that now, I've always had, and we've talked about this before, I've always had an emphasis on certain things that I just would not buy cheap. But now it's a little bit more about buying American, buying stuff
Quality.
that's made in the United States. Now, this is my fear because for so long we have farmed all this out that we have a entire generation that didn't grow up being carpenters or plumbers or electricians or whatever else. They've lost the skills, the trade. Nobody wants to pay to have someone do it well. Very, very rare. We have one community in Alabama that's pretty high end, and that's pretty much the only community I think in the state of Alabama that's willing to pay a craftsman. Everybody else just wants it cheap and fast. Now they're going to get mad when they get what
It
they
falls
get,
apart. Yeah.
but that's what they want. It's cheap and fast. And there's a third part of that if you get it cheap and fast, you're not going to get it good. So you
Well, if you
can't
get
have
it good and cheap, you're not going to get it fast.
You're not going to get it fast. So you can't get all three at once.
Uh-huh.
But we don't have the craftsmen,
The skills.
the skills.
Uh-huh.
And Mike Rowe, he's been preaching that for a long time,
For a couple of decades,
trying to
I
bring
think.
it back.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that, we're real close. Like, after my age group, does your son, has he worked as a skilled carpenter under somebody?
I hope so.
Hope so.
I hope the trades are continuing on, but the work is not easy. It's difficult, and some trades are doing very, very well financially. I mean, you can skimp on a carpenter because you can get
Easy now.
a handyman. Well, I'm just
You're
no, I'm,
stepping
I'm
on
just
my
saying.
toes.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying people do skimp, and they hire a handyman to repair something that's made of wood or whatever. But when it comes to plumbing and electrical, like you don't
They-
have a choice.
No, they still skimp.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah,
Well.
they still skimp, and they get what they pay for. And especially when they try to do it under the table, off the books, and then that's just leads to another nightmare down
Right.
the road. And so it's bad
Uh-huh.
across the board. It's not just construction; it's everything.
Right.
How many people have brought a new car lately, which we haven't, we never do, and drive it off the lot, and then have to turn around and take it back to the shop, and you ain't had it 24 hours. So there's a lot of stuff that is junk. I've talked about this before about how I used to keep a skill saw forever. Now you're lucky if you don't throw one in the trash every couple months,
Right. Well.
and they sell them that way.
So, getting back to made in the USA being a good thing,
It'll take a minute.
it's going to take, like, we're going to have to catch up on our skills.
Yeah.
But I do think, too, in regards to eBay, when you are selling pre-owned items, so you already have that merchandise here, it's in the States, to be able to say you're shipping it from the U.S. is going to be a positive thing. Because there's still people...
To people in the United States.
Yeah. If you're in the U.S., yeah. But there's still plenty of, I know, especially with Amazon, there are plenty of companies where you buy something and it's actually being shipped from China.
Yeah, drop shipping, there's a lot of resellers that do drop shipping. And for them, this may change up how they do things. But they typically, a lot of them, might not really care as much as we care. And so, it's a transaction on the internet, and they don't ever see and touch anything. So if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't, kind of deal. But I think it will cause some problems for them. But we don't have a solution in America right now. I mean, I know part of the
Well,
deal
yeah, a lot of
is,
things that are not, we have voids.
yeah, some other countries, unfortunately not ours. I do know that there's been an effort for quite a while to try to do more here, but it's going to take a long time. But there's other countries they're willing to kind of step up and say, hey, if you're going to tariff them and we have some equal agreement, we'll do it for you. So maybe it'll shift a little bit, but we still need to. Like I think isn't it aspirin that we don't even make in America?
I don't know. I just know a lot of pharmaceuticals are produced at least in China.
I need to find out where my goodies are made.
So that you don't run out.
Getting old. Speaking
Yeah.
of old, if anybody's seen this madness on my hands,
You get
Th-
an
th-
old
this is-
man thin skin.
yeah, this is where I'm at now. I'm just moving bins around to get shipping done.
Yeah.
That's not
The cheap way of storing your inventory is not the safest way as
Yeah.
you age.
At some point, we'll do a whole thing on that because it's a great way to get started. It's not
12 months in is time to
yeah.
start.
Yeah. So we've got to we got to figure something out sooner than later. Sooner,
Yeah.
really sooner.
But the upside to having the bins that we're storing in, so like when I say bins, we're talking the black storage containers that you can buy at
Yellow top.
Yellow Top or
Red
Red
Top.
Top. We have some of both. So we have those because we deal with mainly clothes. We have those packed. So there's probably 35
Or more.
to 45 pounds in each
Oh, pounds. Yeah.
bin, maybe
Yeah,
30.
yeah. They're heavy.
They are. So like I'm not worrying about working out with weights right now because I handle bins on a daily basis. It is providing some exercise, which is a good thing. So I can't complain about that too much, but it would be nice to have things be a little bit easier. Yes.
Yeah, because of a different reason, one of the places we sourced on a regular basis, and this is where you don't ever say, this is the store. Don't go to any other stores. This is it. We're going to be here. How many times have we said that?
This is we'll go. This is our new place.
This is our new place. Well, it lasts about a month or two, but you can't blame them. It's their business. They can do what they want. But they changed. We used to be able to get great deals on Mondays, and they just decided all of a sudden,
stop that.
didn't tell anybody. Just said, okay, well, we're not doing this anymore, and put us in. This was part of the bad week. Put us in a little bit of a not panic, but starting to think, oh, now what do we do? Praise the Lord, another store, pretty good deals. So,
But I think that boils back to being able to say that we have to be able to adapt,
Yeah.
be flexible and adapt. And as you were saying this morning, like the leaner we are, the easier that is going to be.
yeah. So and then this is a totally different live. But here is the debate, because initially when you go and you're like, okay, well then we're no longer getting those deals anymore. Well, maybe we're not going to do men's clothes anymore. We're going to do something else. And maybe that is what you do, but maybe it's not. And before you make a panic decision, you better think it through, because especially the older we get, changing stuff up and trying to figure out a whole nother different product right now, a little too much for us currently. And I probably say this just about every time, but the more, like, if this is what you sell, then pretty soon
You're going to know it very well.
you're going to know it very well, and you can find better deals for them. You can also list them faster, and you know how to ship them. See, that is the whole other thing, is you start getting into other things. Well, you better figure out how to ship them. And then because you assumed it's similar, doesn't mean, the listing. Like I just did the start of some doorknobs, so y'all can pat me on the back virtually.
We're moving into the
Cleaning out the garage.
in-house inventory,
And guess
and
what?
it's painful.
Guess what? It wasn't simple. There was a whole lot of more questions in there that I'm like,
Different questions.
what in the world for a doorknob? So I don't need to be figuring out how to do doorknobs and faucets and shower rods and everything at the same time. So we are going to have to start doing more of those, but just so we can clean out the garage. But I'm not saying that that's a long-term solution for us. But we ran across someone got a truckload of brand new. It's Russell Athletic, which a lot of that stuff used to be made in Alabama. I don't know if it still is anymore.
No, actually, when I worked on that listing, the shirt was actually made in China, I think, or no, El Salvador.
So it used to be made close to here. But anyway,
The headquarters is still there.
but the deal is that we're like, oh my word, and brand new with tags.
Uh-huh.
Now, last week we could have got them super cheap, and I could have bought 25 of them, maybe 30. I won't be able to get them this cheap again this week because the colors change, and so it won't be that. But it also may last to the. But what if I just found like a really good deal that sells fast for decent money, that I do one listing and there's 30 items? I mean, that's lean. So, but we're not there yet. I mean, we still, we're just trying to be 1%, and that may be a stretch,
1% better every day.
like a 0.5%,
Yeah.
a week.
Or just forward progress would be good.
Yeah. And so, those are things that we all need to do, whether there's tariffs involved or not.
Right. Well, I think it's important for us to all remember, too, that when we talk about the cranking of the dial, that the state that we are in economically is not the fault of the tariffs. Like, this has been building to this point for a long time. A lot of decisions have been made in the past that have not favored us.
Well, and the solution's not going to happen overnight either.
No. But here's the thing that I was curious about. Like, throughout, let's just say for the past 20 years, and I know part of this is we're getting older, and so time passes faster when you get
Super
older.
fast.
But there have been, like, changes are happening so fast. And over the past, 10 years, so many things have changed so much that I was wondering, okay, first of all, how long, like if we're going into a recession, if we're not already in one, how long does a recession typically last historically? And in light of the fact that so much has changed in the world, like with lightning speed, our healthcare system changed radically with the ACA and the way people work, so many people working from home and hybrid situations like that changed dramatically in 1 year. And so many things have changed so much. And with lightning speed, is this recession or potential recession even going to last that long? So I was curious about that.
Yeah.
So I did go back and Google it. And so historically, the average recession has lasted from 2 months to 18 months.
Oh, well.
And the average then is...
We've already been struggling that long. So.
Yeah, the average is 10 months. And so I'm like, okay, the world doesn't end if we go through 10 slow, hard months. Like, we can survive that. Which brings me to this. Gen Xers, like, it's up to us to, like, man up and push through and show our kids something different.
I was sharing a story with Hope earlier. Like, when we were kids, we used to get out there. Of course, we would leave the house super early and just never come home.
Like summertime hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, the guys were out there. We were taking scrap and building bicycle ramps and kept jumping off of it, getting it higher and higher and higher. And then, you fall and scrape and you're bleeding all over the place. We didn't go home. I mean, we didn't wipe it off. Like our socks or whatever.
Just let it run down your leg.
Just let it run down your leg. And you're like, and then.
You didn't go home until something broke.
Well, even when my bicycle broke.
No, I'm talking about body parts.
Oh, body parts. Well, even when the bicycle broke because I was jumping off the ramp, I didn't go home. I got
flipped
the
it
wrench
upside down and fixed
it.
it. Uh-huh.
So, maybe that's what our generation will have to do. We'll have to pay the price for all the mess that we've, allowed to happen over our generation, and say, okay, let's take it on the knee and the chin and everywhere else in order to try to find a solution because we do need to fix a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I'm grateful that we're at least starting the process of going, you know what, we do need to improve our situation.
Phone is like vibrating against the table. I think
Is it
it's
bugging you?
yeah, it is. Well, it's in my ear.
So sadly, it's not a Cha-Ching.
No, it's not a Cha-Ching. That I would gladly share with everybody, but
Yeah, you would let it Cha-Ching. So anyway,
so it's up to us.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we gotta
we
lead the
don't-
way and be positive about
let's,
it.
let's not panic. Let's not run around. And there some movie about the sky's falling. But anyway,
It's a children's story.
yeah.
Chicken Little.
Oh, Chicken Little.
Yeah, run around with like, the sky is falling, the sky is
The
falling.
beauty of our age, I may have seen that, but it doesn't matter because
It's all new.
if you put it on the TV right now, it'd be new to me.
Yeah,
So,
but
but also, like you said,
We
the
d-
recession, it provides opportunity.
uh-huh.
And so, let's try to figure out
Yeah.
what the solutions to those things can be.
So the opportunity is when people have less money to spend, we need to know what are those things. If we're adapting and we're changing our eBay, or adapting our eBay selling, what we do need to focus on is the fact that people are going to buy what they need. So we need to focus on helping to meet those needs.
Yeah,
Now,
figure out
there's
what they
still
need.
still going to be people who are going to buy luxury. They have the money to spend, and if high-end luxury is your thing, then you may not see any difference. But if you are selling a lot of fast fashion,
You
or
might struggle.
yeah, you may struggle, like
But if you're
high-end
selling,
jeans
if you're in
and things
eBay
like that.
Motors, you might be doing really well.
Yeah. So
But you might need to include this is how you connect it to your car video as part of your deal. But
Yeah.
that's once again, people don't work on their own cars anymore. So, but if someone can't get parts and you got the part,
then
so-
you're golden. Yeah.
So we definitely still, our desire and the reason why we get on and go live and talk is that we would like to have a community to have conversations like this with, because we definitely don't know everything, and somebody out there knows things that we don't know, and we would love to share stuff back and forth to benefit each other. That's the beauty of community is when it's healthy. And someone's not trying to take advantage of the other people because they have knowledge that the other ones don't, then, we all benefit and we grow together.
Right.
And that's a huge desire for us. And we do have a virtual eBay meeting coming up.
On May the 9th, let me double check the date. It's going to be at
It's a Zoom
no,
thing,
May
right?
the 8th. I'm sorry. It's going to be a Zoom, and it's going to be at 7 p.m. Central Time. I have the Zoom meeting set up, and I will put the link in the description of this video after it goes live. I mean, after the video is up, and show where you can get connected to that.
Yeah, and if you have not used Zoom before, like reach out to us because we can help you with that. We didn't use it until, I don't know, you used it before I did.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's not super hard. There's just a few things to
Right.
do.
You can do it on your phone, so it's
Yeah.
very easy. And you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. But faces and friendly people, are always welcome.
Yeah, and this is step one. I mean, eventually we would also like to have something that is
In person.
in person, but
This will also be a short meeting. It will be roughly 30 minutes long.
yeah, because
We're doing
until people start showing up, we can't afford to pay for the
the longer version
professional Zoom
level. Yeah. So we're trying to keep it lean, and but want to reach out and have an opportunity to grow an eBay reselling community and support one another and help us find solutions
Yeah.
for situations like tariffs and how they're affecting us, and sharing ways that we're dealing with it, and share struggles that we're having with the situations. Share our sob stories of returns, and how
Yeah.
to better handle things.
Yeah, if y'all don't start asking questions, then y'all just gonna hear me talk about my drama.
Oh, well, we don't need that.
No, we don't.
But and we also thought that we were going to go shorter today, but looks
Yeah.
like we've
Yeah, so we need to wrap this
yeah.
up.
So
So,
it's okay. All you Gen Xers,
mm-hmm,
we need to step up.
mm-hmm.
We need to step up and be optimist, and lead the way in showing that we can adapt, and we can make. We have adapted a lot in our lifetimes.
We still got a lot to do.
Yeah.
And that's part of our lean journey is to be able to adapt.
Right.
The leaner you are, the easier it is to adapt. If you're caught up in some of the gurus out there, and you've got warehouses and employees and all that kind of stuff, then it's a lot harder to adapt.
A lot harder to pivot and change if you need to do that.
Yeah. So,
So.
we're about as small as you can get. So anyway, y'all have a good one. We appreciate you coming out.
Catch you next one.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No, really. Thank you. This is. Bye.